What was your reaction to the end of the movie? But don't use words, okay? I'm going to count you in 3, 2, 1.
It's actually so much worse than that. Let's begin. Never has the Lucasfilm logo been more cursed than in this wretched sack of lies. Though, as expected, we open with the title crawl. The dead speak. What? The first 3 words, really? It gets even better with the translation on the cam copy. Deaths are speaking. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast, a threat of revenge in the sinister voice of the late Emperor Palpatine. Yup. Palpatine is alive and he's sending his voice out into the galaxy for what I am sure is a very good reason. General Leia Organa dispatches secret agents to gather intelligence. Okay, just your run-of-the-mill intelligence, I assume.
Intelligence?
The most sophisticated computer in the world.
While Rey, the last hope of the Jedi, trains for battle against the diabolical First Order. Trains? She trains now? I'll have to see it to believe. Oh my god, look at her go! Meanwhile, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren rages in search of the Phantom Emperor, determined to destroy any threat to his power. Though I will say the translation seems to be more accurate. Kylo Ren is angry. Yeah, that's about right. I wonder if this film will have Kylo straddle the line between the light and the dark, and maybe he'll have to commit to a choice at some point. That would be a big change. So what a great start. Good old Sheev is alive and plotting, Rey is gaining more power, and Kylo is the boss of the de facto empire. We begin with following Kylo to some red and white aesthetic planet. I've been told it's Mustafar, but, you know, it's hard to tell these things. And I think a lot of viewers have some PTSD in relation to red and white planets at this point. We discover that Kylo is murdering everybody in order to collect MacGuffin number 1.
So,
okay.
A random ass villager just says, "Whoa, I like that chick. Here's a McMuffin."
It's a McMuffin!
McMuffin.
It's a McMuffin. Oh, sorry, McMuffin number 1. The McMuffin gives him direct references to the location of Mr. Palpatine. And so you may be asking, why would Kylo need the McMuffin to get there once he finds out what planet it's on from the McMuffin? Well, Sheev's planet, Exegol, is essentially clouded in space cancer. And this space cancer is so dangerous, Kylo's singular TIE interceptor can just narrowly make it through with a McMuffin plugged directly into his navigation. Though this becomes pretty irrelevant, as when he arrives, it clearly shows that the space cancer only represents one specific direction of approach to the planet. So, like, couldn't anyone get here at any time from many directions as long as they know where the planet is? I mean, fuck, couldn't someone have found this by accident at this point? Why would they need a McMuffin once they see the space cancer? Just go around it, you dopey twat. Also, I guess Sheev really did survive episode 6. He's just a little worse for wear with white eyes and tism fingers, but it is him. Congrats, dude. I thought you were dead for sure.
In Lucas's mind, Palpatine was absolutely dead after Return of the Jedi.
Well, silly George, don't you know that's subjective? Unfortunately, this fucks with pretty much everything in Star Wars, but I suppose we can explore that a little bit later. At this point in the movie, they crank the lighting and sounds to a degree that epilepsy warnings had to be handed out. They commit to this for so long that I legit couldn't fucking focus on the people in the scene. It's to support the creepy factor, but holy hell, calm down. As Kylo moves through, we see a whole bunch of test tubes with containers that, I can't believe I'm about to say this. This is real. This is a thing, okay? I'm not lying to you. Okay. As Kylo moves through, we see a whole bunch of test tubes and containers with botched Snoke clones. I say again, botched Snoke clones. Literally attempts at creating Supreme Leader Snokes, implying that Emperor Palpatine can just create from scratch a hyper-powerful Force user from his fucking bedroom in an instant. Snoke has been around since before Luke had tried to murder Kylo in his sleep, so yeah, Creamy Sheev has been busy. I mean, somehow he could have made an entire army of scrotum-faced, hyper-powerful Andy Serkis CGI motherfuckers by now. He hasn't, but, you know, precedent is there. No longer does it take a lifetime of training and struggle to become the most powerful Force user in the galaxy. You can just poop one out of a test tube and drop him into the leading seat of the mightiest Empire clone that ever existed. Just like that. But yeah, apparently Snoke was his own dude who trained Kylo well, but ultimately he was created by Palpatine. He's like a meat puppet, maybe? So like, why did he even exist if it was all Palpatine anyway? Why not just be on the throne yourself like you already were for so long? Did nobody in this universe wonder where Snoke came from? And if you're just gonna take over for him as soon as he dies, why would you just there to begin with? Like, I know we wondered where he came from. He turned up out of nowhere, and what, for the people of this universe, they just accepted that? Seriously? I always thought that we just didn't know things that they did, but they know as much as us. Was this always the plan?
It's a total surprise when about a year ago it said we're thinking of bringing back the Emperor. How do you feel?
Okay then. What was the interaction of Snoke with Luke, Han, and Leia? Did they all think that he was this real-ass guy? Apparently Vader's voice was faked by Palpatine, as well as possibly Snoke's voice in the head of Kylo, or he claims as such.
I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head.
Which is pretty awkward, isn't it? First, we have to acknowledge that Vader just abandoned his family as a Force ghost, and when his grandson was being told that he should follow the dark side by a fake Vader voice, Anakin just let that happen. Not to mention that Kylo's whole fucking motivation was to... what was it again?
I will finish what you started.
So, wouldn't finding out that the voice you've been following for years is fake shatter your entire worldview? Maybe it puts into question every last action you've ever taken. Well, no, not really. He still absolutely intends to rule the galaxy as a dark side user, so... I'm going to take this opportunity to say that for the last year and a half, a podcast I run with Rags had a bet going with the guests. The bet was to choose who you thought would be the most inconsistent character in The Rise of Skywalker in reference to their past appearances. Now, every character was on the table except Palpatine, because we didn't actually know he was going to be in the film before making this bet, and I think a lot of people would have chosen him, so, you know, it wouldn't be fair. I think there's reason to assume that he wasn't going to be in this film. But someone else was disqualified, and that's Kylo fucking Ren, because my god, this character is so utterly inconsistent that he's become the personification of tangled up Christmas tree lights drenched in yogurt and acid. I'm not even going to pretend that he has some semblance of a through line in these films. Be good, be bad, I don't give a shit anymore, just commit, you greased weasel. Kylo threatens to kill Palpatine, and Palpatine responds,
I have died before.
You died before? I don't think death means what you think it means. And even if you're like a dead ghost thing inhabiting your own corpse, how does your body survive exploding twice? Well, he provides us an explanation. He repeats the line we've all heard from episode 3.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
And that's it. That's it for the whole fucking movie. He just says he's alive despite having died because of the dark side. Thank goodness we're able to bring back old enemies arbitrarily. What in the world would we have done for stakes otherwise? Imagine they had to create a new enemy, one that could bind the old and the new, one that could have been pulling strings in the background from as early as A New Hope, one that could have had a close relationship with the character whose soul is being torn in two ways, and one that isn't motivated entirely by power. Well, fuck it. Let's kill that guy and make him a test tube baby created by the guy who died twice 30 years ago. The absolute state of Lucasfilm. Just what the Kylo is instructed to kill Rey and become the ultimate power in the universe. The manner in which Palpy can make this happen is by combining his forces with the First Order to create the Final Order. Remember Order 66? Remember the prequels? Because that's the point to which Disney has sunk this franchise. They now desperately cling at the chance to be anywhere near as good as the prequels. Holy fuck. Regardless, this is the Final Order, implying that he had this shit planned for ages and it's his end game? I wonder if there will be any comparisons to that movie in this one. So, Palpatine is referring to about 1,000 Star Destroyers in terms of his forces. Not sure how he managed to get thousands of Star Destroyers made, much less ones individually equipped with the ability to destroy planets. Seems kind of impossible on what's a desolate, lightning-ridden wasteland. Oh, and during the delivery of this information, the Emperor lifts all of his Star Destroyers out of the fucking floor of Exegol with the big gay. Apparently these things were built below the ground and he just plowed them through his own planet to raise them up. And they come fully stocked with every crew member that an enormous spacecraft would require. What fresh hell is this? Why would you not have these things built on the surface prepped for liftoff? The whole point of this place is that no one can reach it without a MacMuffin, and the first person to ultimately get here that doesn't work for Palpatine was shown them immediately. They do not need to be hidden. It also can't be to do with the harsh weather since they were run through the fucking ground and they sit in the sky for the whole movie. I don't think Mr. Sheev cares about their structural integrity. So, why would they be embedded in the floor and have people in them? Unless this planet is hollow and there's a whole bunch of scaffolding and workstations below. I really doubt it, but let's go with that. What about the integrity of the entire area? What stops your weird science room from being buried? There's a good reason why contractors exist, you decrepit omelet. And I'm sorry, but what's going to be the damage on these Star Destroyers? Because, you know, I'm a pretty weird dude, so take this with a grain of salt. But when you have your maiden voyage for a brand new ship, I don't think it's good practice to plant it into the fucking ground. None of it makes any sense, but it sure does look cool. Must be a J.J. Abrams film. Anyway, we flip over to Finn and Poe, who are meeting with an informant that wants to provide them some info from a spy in the First Order. They manage to transfer the info to R2-D2 and make a daring escape before it's too late. This is on the Ice Comet, by the way, the glorious visual from the trailer. Now, you might have been giving yourself the old question here of, hang on, what the fuck is happening? Who is the informant? Who's the spy? How did the First Order just find these guys so easily? No, we're not getting any information on that. We've jumped a nebulous amount of time into the future, and they are just in this situation. It's a perfect setup for some action. Stop complaining, stop asking questions. I want to highlight as well that this creature tells them to win the war, thanks to this information he's provided, when it essentially amounts to confirmation that Exegol exists, Palpatine is alive, and he has a Star Destroyer fleet in the thousands. Because yeah, they were already losing, but now I'm sure this will turn the tide in their favor. And actually, aren't they fucked? How can they possibly escape? The First Order can track people through hyperspace, and they've been found, so it's too late, right? But then again, it's a Star Destroyer that's required for that. Like, you need a big structure and a power source or whatever, or like a breaker. So it's not like TIE fighters can do it. Well, that's where you're wrong, kiddo. Twice, in fact. TIE fighters can now track through hyperspace to the point of it being instant, almost like they're traveling with the person they are chasing. But that's not an issue, because there's a new invention in this world. It's called light speed skipping. And light speed skipping is essentially hyperspace jumping instantly several times in a row. This is how Poe can lose anyone who's tracking him. Now, I didn't know that was possible. Nobody fucking did. In fact, I'm pretty sure there is a very blatant line in the original trilogy that is designed to tell us that they shouldn't because it's a really quick way to die. But this is a kind of no-choice situation, since Ryan has locked JJ in with hyperspace tracking. Then again, it was JJ's choice to have them being chased in the opening 5 minutes, so what do I know? I think it's relevant to say that it gives JJ an excuse to take us to a whole bunch of crazy places quickly. He loves his visuals, that JJ. But it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? First of all, if the coordinates are random, then he should be hitting the dead of space pretty much every single time, considering the ratio of things versus not things out there, which means he would never have lost the TIE fighters. However, if these were places he actually knew about and was heading to, then he was way beyond lucky to be alive. He seems to appear in these places with no idea of exactly where he's gonna land. Do you understand how lucky he is to have landed in each of these worlds with 1,000 obstacles each and not hit any of them? He should have been turned into Holdo soup. And that leads us to the third and final location that has a random space Cthulhu worm that technically saves their lives by stopping the remaining TIE fighters that for some reason blunderously fly into it. Was this intended from Poe? Does he know when the worm moves around, or was all of this just extremely lucky? And how is it that he jumps almost instantly? Are these worlds that close together? Do you guys remember how long it took to get from Tatooine to Alderaan? I guess none of it matters. It's just stupid space stuff. Besides, Ryan kind of ignored his own rules with the hyperspace tracker at the end of The Last Jedi anyway, so who really cares? Finn seems to be vehemently against the whole idea, by the way, which is interesting since it's the only option they have to save their lives, though Poe admits that yes, this is the best they have because Rey isn't on this mission. Just looking to clarify here, Rey is now better than Poe at piloting, and he has to lament the fact that she isn't there to save them in a more effective manner when it comes to piloting. What can she do that wouldn't be light speed skipping and would save you from the First Order exactly? And I mean, fuck, piloting is like Poe's only thing, but I guess he sucks at it compared to Rey? Because everyone sucks at everything when compared to Rey? And hey, if your neck hadn't already broken from the different locales, characters, and tones, we suddenly cut to Rey. She's being trained by Leia, who knows how to train a Jedi now? Okay.
They fly now! They fly now!
Rey is meditating in midair while moving a whole bunch of rocks because this shit was boring, I guess. We gotta crank it up JJ style. More rocks, consistent levitation. This is Rey, motherfucker. She even floats down with a sigh of frustration as if the whole flying part is easy. I guess Palpatine should have looked into that. The problem is that she can't get them to be with her. Apparently, she's trying to hear the voices of all the past Jedi through the gay. That's just something she can meditate toward, I guess. Regardless, Leia is here, and she gives Rey Anakin's lightsaber. It's been repaired. Rip TLJ. We see a lot of running, jumping, and ooh, look, the droid that Luke used. Only this is Rey, so we gotta crank it up. She's not just blind, she's not just taking many shots at once. She's balancing on a thin log over a chasm. Fucking, yeah, you go, girl. Wait, why does this person need training? At the end of this little segment, Rey drops a tree on BB-8 and she's like, oh no, sorry, and begins to push the log off, which, what are you doing? You could literally do this. Just pull it off him with your god powers, you irritable numpty. Just before Finn and Poe return, Rey is having a look-see at those
Sacred Jedi texts!
And she happens to see a page all about McMuffins. Yep, that's what she happens to see right before the plot kicks in with a need for McMuffins. I'm sure it has absolutely no relevance. As Finn and Poe get off the Falcon, they meet up with Rey and we get some instant chemistry. Just add years of off-screen history. They have this weird thing invented out of nowhere that Poe and Rey do not like each other because they have different approaches to everything. It's a conflict that's presented, developed, and then dropped, which is actually applicable to a bunch of things in this movie.
Rey! Rey, I never told you anything!
Poe is angry at Rey for not helping them as well as damaging BB-8, and Rey is mad at Poe for damaging the Falcon. You know, damaging it, while he saved his own life, the lives of Chewie and Finn, and he secured the information. Because Poe's just not allowed to do things right in this saga. Finn even backs it up by saying that Poe is always in a bad mood. Since when? Wasn't he always the fun-loving one?
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Permission to jump in her next swing and blow something up?
Good to meet you, Poe! Good to meet you too, Finn!
Very hard to understand you with all the...
Search him.
apparatus.
I guess he got fun surgically removed during TLJ like the rest of the characters.
Go away, now!
Anyway, Rey and Finn are as chummy as ever. They all speak as a group and the film tries its best to pretend that they've been together for ages. Rey says the compressor is down and thus Poe can't lightspeed skip, but then he says that he can, and he did, so... Yeah, and the Falcon is fixed in about 10 minutes for the next adventure, so who fucking cares? The conversation gets heated when Poe says that it's essentially stupid of Rey to be training to talk to past Jedi when she is the best fighter they have, and they need her help to win this war. She has no response to that, because there is no fucking response to that other than saying, yeah, she really shouldn't be training. See, I figured she would know she's the best with everything she's done, and she would be helping them, but she just stands there and asks about the spy. There's so much to say about this interaction from a writing perspective. Hell, I'm sure someone will do it at some point, but this story really wants us to accept these folks as friends, with an unbreakable bond, along with values that conflict despite two of them sharing less than 1 minute of screen time. It's so rushed. Speaking of which, with the intelligence retrieved from the spy, the Resistance confirm that Palpatine is back, and they all shudder gasp. Of course, several members try to reconcile this impossibility, and a hobbit gets involved. Mary suggests that it's dark science, cloning, and the like.
No one's ever really gone.
He describes cloning technology as secrets only the Sith knew, despite there being a galactic war, half of which was fought by clones, but nah lol, it's a Sith secret. Poe goes on to say that Palpy is building the largest fleet the galaxy has ever known, and it's going to attack all free worlds in 16 hours. Which is interesting for many reasons. First, if that's all you had to say in the message, then why did you need this fuck-off transfer? You could literally have shouted it to these guys, or chucked them a USB with a notepad file on it. Would have been a hell of a lot faster than this shit. For some reason, to transfer like a sentence of information, it takes like a minute to put it through a big floopy wire into R2-D2. He could have just said it to him. He'd literally have just been like, this is the information.
Your R2 is a 4.1 USB connection, right? Because that's what we've got. And I've got to find an adapter if he's not that thing. We should have discussed this earlier, but
it's the fact that the wire is so massive as well. It's like the data is actually physically getting pushed into it. Like,
it's just sludge. Like data sludge.
They literally just could have called out.
How do computers function in this universe?
They don't.
Well, like, you're right. They could have just called out, Palpatine's alive. He has a fleet of ships on this planet, whatever it's called, and is going to attack in so many days. That's the whole message right there. I said it right there. They could have just spat.
You could have written it on a piece of paper, tied it to a rock, and flung it in the hatch.
This rock has everything you need to know.
But in regards to the information, I don't even know what free worlds are at this point. Did the First Order take over everything or not? Are they going to destroy every single free world? Really? They aren't going to capture them, control them? If this is the plan, then shouldn't the free worlds be mobilizing their own attack? Isn't this something that the good guys should look into, whether or not they have a plot to find a bunch of McMuffins? And hang on, wasn't Palpatine interested in having an empire, not pieces of planets floating around the galaxy? Wasn't there actually a point to the empire beyond killing people? Destroying Alderaan was a message to the rebellion. This just seems to be a desire to destroy many free worlds with strong resources for no other reason than being evil.
The Empire improves every system it touches. Safety, prosperity, trade, opportunity, peace.
Lol, no. Evil is on the way, folks, and its origin is Exegol. We now have the stakes of Return of the Jedi, but we're JJ, so we gotta crank it up. And all of this was poofed into existence between movies because Ryan left JJ with fucking nothing at the end of TLJ. Unfortunately, however, Exegol isn't on any star charts, which leaves them no choice but to die. We tried, folks. See you next time. Empire wins. Unless someone has information on how to get to Exegol. Like maybe a person who just read a passage in a book about it? About McMuffins? On an unrelated note, Rey talks to Leia about Luke apparently having searched for Exegol for a long time. He nearly found McMuffin 3 but failed and put his notes into the
Sacred Jedi text!
For some reason he did that, and then he went into exile, I guess. Though Luke did discover, somehow, that you need a McMuffin to get to Exegol, and Luke's trail of one went cold in a desert somewhere, and so that's where they're going to find one. Just go into a desert, huh? Just an entire planetary desert. okay, then yeah, that's a good enough lead. Let's go. For clarification though, because you guys might not be following, they want to stop the Emperor's new fleet, but they can't even get to it. They have accepted this information as true without any confirmation because a spy in the First Order told them. A spy that's assumedly only been active since the events of TLJ. It's not like luring all of the top players of the Resistance to a desert planet sounds like a trap. Nor does it sound like a trap to lure all of the Resistance ships to one very rocky planet. But okay, let's trust the information. The plan is this. In order to get to the Emperor's fleet, the book says they will need a MacMuffin, specifically MacMuffin 2, because Kylo has MacMuffin 1. And there are only 2 MacMuffins that can get a person to Exegol, for some reason. But in order to get the location to MacMuffin 2, they will need MacMuffin 3, and MacMuffin 3 is apparently in this desert. This is a very intelligent plan. Before they leave, Finn makes sure to ask an old friend along for the journey. Shrek is back. But since we're looking to repair the errors of The Last Jedi in this film, JJ opts to have Shrek spend the story pointing at consoles and scanning things. If I'm being specific, however, Shrek says that the Resistance are scanning old Star Destroyers in order to exploit weaknesses. I wonder if that throwaway line will be relevant later. But the important part is, Shrek is not coming.
Rose is like, nah, can't come. Nah.
I was like, thank God, stay here.
Someone in the cinema literally said, thank God.
It's such a blatant move. Just like, yeah, busy with like looking at stuff and things. You go ahead. It's like, oh, okay.
And so the adventure begins, and the Falcon takes off with ease, having been made lighter by the warranted removal of Shrek. You shall be missed. By TLJ fans. We see our cast of characters, our wonderful team, happily celebrating the path they've set out upon, together, for the first time in this trilogy. Fucking hell. Back to Kylo, and we see him literally repairing the damage that Rian Johnson dealt. I have nothing else to say about that.
When I got this job, I was just really excited to get to work with Adam. One of the first things I thought was, oh, well, we got to figure out a way to get that mask out of the way. And I thought, well, it seems actually really natural that the idea that, you know, Snoke's reaction to the mask is to kind of ridicule it, suddenly turn it into this symbol of his immaturity that he's hiding behind this mask. That seemed to make sense to me.
I love that this scene exists. It fuels the hilarity of Lucasfilm and their rancid approach to what humanity used to describe as storytelling, while shattering the putrid dreams of one maniac and his goal to sabotage Star Wars, only to hand it off to a person that's looking to torpedo the series regardless. Though I think I should point out that Kylo must have collected the pieces of his mask after having left it in a random elevator, even after the supremacy was bifurcated. He wanted it that much, and he apparently picked up all of the pieces. Good work, Kylo. He then walks down a corridor with the Knights of Ren. What's that, gentle viewer? You don't know what a Knight of Ren is? Nor do you know how I managed to recognize them? Well, we got some helpful exposition all about it.
Knights of Ren. Cool.
They wrote that. They filmed that. They left that in the edit. Just wow. Reminds me of something, actually.
Salt.
Kylo establishes that there is a spy in the midst of the First Order, but that spy won't be able to do anything of note because they are sure to win regardless. How very interesting. I wonder if this spy is just an excuse for our heroes to be put on the plot in the opening and to be saved when they desperately need it later. I wonder if there will be any exploration on how such a spy came to be or what his character entails. Anyway, Kylo says that they are soon to have the fleet from Exegol and nothing will stop them. Only for some guy to say that the Exegol people sound kind of like a cult of soothsayers. Why would you say that? Your boss is the only person who's been there, and he saw a literal fucking armada of Star Destroyers that they're willing to give to you. Who cares if they're soothsayers? General Pride points that very information out, and then the guy says, well, what are they asking for in return? Which, you know what? Okay, that's a fair question, I guess. Let's explore that. Okay then, Kylo is throwing another temper tantrum, and he strangled the guy so hard that he slapped him into the ceiling. Why? Why are you so angry for no reason all the time, you querulous cunt? In and amongst the chatter, they say this armada will make up for the failure of Starkiller Base, while looking at Hux. Even though it was Captain Phasma that allowed the shields to go down, and Kylo who failed several times all over the movie, including letting the droid slip out of the First Order's fingers. Hux literally couldn't have done anything about it when they arrived at Starkiller Base. If it isn't already clear, they want you to understand the reasoning behind Hux being the double agent. You see, it explains his consistent fuck-ups, and I suppose the fact that everyone thinks he's useless and he commands no respect is having an effect. There are then comments about taking more young from different areas of the galaxy. This is on top of Kylo saying they will crush any worlds that defy them, which means at this point, just with this couple of sentences, there is more world building than The Last Jedi. Excellent. Still makes no fucking sense though. Our heroes then arrive at not Tatooine, or sorry, not Jakku, I guess. No, it's a new one altogether. They use the specific coordinates that Luke went cold on to reach a desert. The plan is to literally just sort of look around. I guess this is a plot. Upon arriving, they find that searching the desert is going to be tough, considering there is a festival going on, even though if that wasn't there, you would still have to search a fucking desert. That is obviously unlucky, but this festival is pretty common. C-3PO informs us that it takes place once per 42 years. Why in the world do you write this way, you absolute skunk fume? But Mauler, it references the release of A New Hope. That is an explanation, that is not an excuse. As they approach the vast desert, Poe explains that there's always First Order patrols in these areas, so you do have to be careful. Why would a First Order patrol be here? What reason would they have to be in a festival on a distant planet? What? I'm sure it won't be relevant. Lucky for our heroes, several wide shots show us that there's no First Order in sight. They will be fine. As they move through this celebration looking for McMuffin 3, Poe suggests talking to the locals. As if I can't believe this is the plot. Let's go talk to the locals about McMuffin number 3 that Luke Skywalker couldn't find, that's in this desert somewhere. What a fucking plan. Either way, a Randy spots Rey and gives her a necklace while asking for her family name. And she stops, thinking about how each movie in the sequel trilogy can't make its fucking mind up on this subject. But before she can give a more detailed answer, Kylo gives her a Skype call.
Does it hurt?
They discuss the idea that Kylo is closer to the light now and that Rey is closer to the dark, while threatening to kill her on top of it. You know, the bog standard dialogue between these two walking infections, but then Kylo grabs Rey's necklace and pulls it through the universe to his ship. No, I'm not kidding, that happens. We had water in TLJ, then we had the Invisadice, and now you can just full-on teleport objects through the universe. Are you aware of the applications for this? What exactly are the limits? Can you pull her through? Can you pull her weapons through? Her clothing? Her friends? Can she pull you through and just have everyone dogpile you? What is this stupid Because Kylo took the necklace, Rey immediately concludes that the First Order will arrive on this planet in moments and warns her friends. Before you can even think about that, the necklace is analyzed and the specific planet is identified, pushing Kylo Ren to our heroes immediately, and then, before we can recover from that, they are fleeing from the thought of being captured and a random stormtrooper is just standing here. But before you can think about that, the trooper is shot in the fucking eye by an arrow from Lando motherfucking Calrissian. What the... I guess it's good to be back, folks. What the fuck? First of all, how in the holy hell does this random necklace design definitively mean that Pisana is the planet that they are on? What if this was something Rey got ages ago? What if people who visit Pisana take these things to other places? Is this really enough to go on? I love the idea that we have a scene with Kylo intending to find Rey, and he had absolutely no leads, and then he just tore one off her neck. Also, you might be wondering, where on this planet would Kylo know to search? Well, that's because they bump into a random fucking stormtrooper who was just chilling there, as Poe mentioned in a throwaway line earlier. Fuck's sake. What are the odds that they would bump into that guy at that very moment? Hang on, does bumping into him kind of mean that the necklace didn't matter anyway? You could have just said that the First Order were alerted by these guys? Can you please keep track of your own movie? How is it that Kylo can get here so fucking fast? Yes, hyperspace is a thing, but it's not like teleporting. It still takes time. Even The Force Awakens recognizes that. that. Secondly, assuming the necklace really did matter, what are the fucking odds that a random villager decided to put it on one of our heroes, and out of the whole selection, it just happened to be the one that has random Skype calls with the only guy in the fucking universe that is both looking for them and has the ability to teleport items away from a person. Wow. Thirdly, how in the fuck is Lando here? Of all the coincidences ever, he's on the planet they need to go to in this plot? He also happened to be in the right spot at the right time to save their lives? You fucking kidding me? Like, the idea that he not only is in this right area, he noticed them in general, he had a weapon on him, and murder is apparently cool in this culture because there's a wide shot soon after and everyone's just dancing around. There is a guy who is lying dead on the floor with his eyeball slung out the back of his head, and these people don't give a fuck. Everything is so beyond lucky. Or is it? Lando explains that Leia sent him a transmission that our heroes are on the way. Lando saw Chewie, and he was here previously with Luke searching for McMuffin 3, which explains why he was still on this planet. We did it, guys. It all makes sense. Except it doesn't. You've explained why Lando would look for them in this general festival, and that he got extremely lucky in spotting Chewie considering the size of this celebration. Lucky, like, where's bloody Waldo levels of lucky. You've also explained why he would have been here at some point ages ago, but not why he's here now. Like, did you just chill on this planet? What about Bespin? You know, the people you betrayed the rebellion for? And why the fuck didn't Leia tell our heroes about meeting Lando before they left? Why wouldn't he be the contact to meet on this planet? That would make the most sense and save time, but I guess JJ wanted to give us the shock reveal, as per usual. Whatever. Lando explains that there are only 2 McMuffins that can get you to Exegol, those being McMuffin 1 and 2. This planet has McMuffin 3, and that can lead you to McMuffin 2, but to get to number 3, you will need to get to Ochi's ship. It's parked over a hill somewhere. Somehow it hasn't been torn for parts or stolen, it's just been sitting there for decades, even though you can fly it with some tinkering. Okay. Also, we're calling Ochi Uchi, Darth Uchi. I'm not respecting that character any more than Lucasfilm respects Star Wars. So Kylo Ren arrives, and our heroes have to steal some speeders to evade the incoming troopers. Poe hotwires one, and Finn asks how he would know how to do that. That's an interesting question you could apply so very liberally in this trilogy. But here, not so much. He is the greatest pilot in the Resistance, or he was, anyway. Why would he not know how to hotwire a speeder? Seems like something he could know, but my mistake is not realizing that they're going to reveal some shocking history for Poe soon enough, and this is the setup. Stay tuned, folks. The First Order then sends some troopers after our heroes, and they begin to fly while chasing them.
Oh, they fly now! They fly now! They fly now!
My goodness, I've never seen a jetpack before in this movie saga.
They fly now! They fly now!
I'm sure none of them have ever seen something so unique before. Why wouldn't they just open with the jetpacks if they're that fast? It would save you a bunch of time, and you're a harder target to hit, and you aren't limited to a fucking treaded speeder. Wait, why are they treaded speeders? Ugh. As expected, we get some action-packed chasing and shooting, Rey nailing the driving and aiming, and the wonderful visuals just spill onto the screen. Though BB-8 happens to tap a canister and it blows up exactly as one would need it in order to fuck up a trooper. Would have been funny if it just exploded on their speeder, but hey, I'm not a droid, what do I know? In addition, Finn throws a rope with a hook on it, or something, and it gets tangled up in the treads of one of the trooper's speeders, leaving him to be blown up by a swerving Poe. Makes for a neat action moment, I guess, but can someone explain why the speeders even have treads when this is the affluent First Order that's riding them? They are chasing people who do not use that technology. How is this happening? Not to mention, these ships apparently have shields to block laser blasts, but they can't bounce a rope with a hook off themselves? Just don't think about it. Eventually, both of our heroes' ships are blown up, like one trooper just shoots the back of both of them and they all fall out. Of course, the ships are in pieces, but our team of goodies are absolutely fine, because luck. I guess. They even managed to take several shots before finally blowing up the remaining trooper, and then they promptly sink into the quicksand. Like, the sand does nothing to them until the drama is over. They're just lying on it, and it does nothing until the stormtrooper fucking hell. So they all panic as they are slowly engulfed by the sand, and Rey doesn't use the gay whatsoever. Remember how she can float herself with ease? We even see her literally move the soil at will in this very movie way later, but here, there's there's a general acceptance that she and her friends are just dead now. How unfortunate that she forgot everything. I hope this all works out though, and I hope that it turns out falling into the quicksand is somehow exactly what they needed to do. Next up, it turns out that falling into the quicksand was exactly what they needed to do, and they discover McMuffin number 3. It's just lying down there in a bunch of tunnels next to the corpse of Darth Uchi. Wait, hang on. How the fuck is quicksand being suspended above a series of caves? How does the quicksand not go into the caves? Is it fucking magic sand? How did Luke and Lando not think to check the mysterious black quicksand just outside of Darth Uchi's ship when the trail went cold? How didn't Luke sense the evil Sith knife? This was apparently their only lead to finding Exegol and they just gave up? His fucking ship was right there. What more proof do you need to search the area? Also, how did Darth Uchi die? Like, he's a Jedi assassin, right? Surely he's gotta have some survival instincts. But they just find his bones laid out on the ground. I guess he sort of gave up and the worm decided not to eat him? Okay, so McMuffin 3 is a knife that has inscribed upon it the details of where to find McMuffin 2, which means our heroes can now escape and find Exegol. Maybe. Only, why in the world would the McMuffin that leads to the McMuffin that leads to the secret world be placed on a knife? Not a ceremonial knife, mind you. This deadass was his weapon used to kill people. Why did you put on your knife and not a map, you clod? Why would a guy who goes in and out of Exegol need a knife with the instructions on how to find a guide to Exegol? Wouldn't it make more sense to hide that thing on Exegol? And if he needed it, then wouldn't he have just had the McMuffin it leads to? Like, isn't it better to have that than a knife that leads to that? Like, none of these makes he says. The other one is sitting in a room that opens automatically in the fucking Death Star ruins. It's not safe from scavengers. That's actually proven. Do you leave these things there in case people want to find Exegol? But then anybody that Palpatine wants to get to Exegol, wouldn't he just send people out there to go collect them? Why would you leave 2 maps out there that someone could stumble upon randomly? And look how clunky this fucking knife is. Shad, do a review of this dagger, please. We need it.
Let it not be bloody ship, it's mine!
Either way, C-3PO explains that he knows exactly what's on the knife, but he can't read it out because he's not allowed to translate it to anyone else.
It's then handed over to C-3PO, who identifies the writing as a Sith language, but reveals he's unable to translate the writing due to restrictions in his programming.
What?
Okay.
Well,
I'm not allowed to tell you what this says. I can't say the N-word.
Then just give us... I can't say the N-word.
To clarify, the issue isn't that he can't read it, it's that he can't translate it into any other language, and thus he cannot tell anyone else about the information. So like, why not have C-3PO point onto a star map or whatever? We know it turns out to be a place in the Endor system, so just do that. All he can't do is turn the directions into any other language, so this seems like an easy way to get around that. But before they can decide on what to do next, they are attacked by a sandworm, or, well, not really. They have a standoff and the worm just sort of looks at them for a while. No idea why. Rey then notices that it's wounded, and she just decides to heal it with the big gay. How does she know that's possible? How does she know how to do it? How is this something that Anakin failed to do for Shmi? How is this something Obi-Wan failed to do for Qui-Gon or Anakin as he writhed in pain? How is it something that Luke failed to do for Anakin? Well, maybe it doesn't quite work on humans, eh? Maybe you can't just arbitrarily heal a fatal lightsaber stab. Maybe you can't heal someone from death to life, because if you could, it might just fuck up everything. Upon being healed, the worm fucks off, and by doing so, accidentally knocks a bunch of rocks over and opens a pathway. It's kinda like a video game. How wonderfully convenient. Rey seems to be absolutely fine from the exchange. Nobody questions what just happened outside of BB-8, because apparently this is totally normal, and Rey explains it's all cool. Okay. Not like it should radically change your position in the Resistance and in this world, but yeah, it's fine. Chewie pockets Darth Uchi's knife, and they all head back to the ship to escape, but Rey senses Kylo and just walks away. They are about to be captured, they have the key to victory, they have a working ship, some fucking how, and she just walks the fuck away. None of them stop her either. She just says, it's fine, and she wanders off. The Knights of Ren are right there. You have no time. What is it that you plan to do, assuming that Kylo Ren does show up? Do you understand that you're currently fleeing the First Order? Just get back to the fucking ship, you diuretic thunderwally. What the hell is going on? She walks so far away that Chewie is sent to go and get her, and in the process of doing so, he is captured by the Knights of Ren. Yeah, that happens. Look at this shot. This is where she is in reference to the ship. Chewie is captured on his way from the ship to her, and neither Poe, nor Rey, nor BB-8, nor Finn notice this. There's no gunfire and no shouting. He's even dragged off around the corner to make it sort of look like it somehow works out logistically. But no one could believe that this is how everybody would be moving about. And it gets worse. The ship is ready to go, only Kylo Ren tries to run Rey over with his interceptor. First of all, his goal has explicitly been to turn Rey to the dark side. So what the fuck is he doing by trying to kill her? There's a pretty big difference between trying to push someone and running them the fuck over. And if he really is trying to kill her, then why not use the lasers, you donkey? But if he isn't, and this is just for the memes, then what would he have done if she just got splattered on the windscreen? Gotta go find someone else to be in the dyad, I suppose. Meanwhile, Chewie is placed into a transport ready to be taken to a command ship, and Finn tries to go after him. Rey jumps and segments Ren's ship to the point that he crashes at like 50 miles per hour while rolling in the sand, ending with an explosion. Don't worry, he's fine. That degree of G-force and an explosion can't do shit to Kylo Ren, not while the plot protects him anyway. But I want to move away from that stupid because it's about to be dwarfed by different stupid. A more potent, deafening stupid. And with how this works, I need to tell you what happens, and then I get to talk about it, so here goes. Rey tries to use the Gay to pull the transport with a captured Chewie in it down, but Kylo uses Gay push to counter hers, until Rey does this. What the fuck? What kind of unmitigated trophy of cinematic excrement am I being forced to witness right now? Who's the fucking carnival penis at Lucasfilm that approved this tumorous fudge we call a scene? Alright, let's fucking begin. The entire team allowing Rey to waddle off that far was just silly. Having her commit to this fucking move rather than simply throwing the lightsaber from a safe position is just silly. Having the First Order parked right next to our heroes and doing nothing about them? That's just silly. Having Chewie go to chase Rey while taking Uchi's knife with him instead of leaving it with Poe and Finn? That's just silly. Having Rey be unable to pull the ship down or just straight up damage the thrusters is just fucking silly. She's a god. Having neither Poe nor Finn do anything about the troopers or Kylo Ren or this escaping ship is just silly. Having Kylo Ren survive being fucking exploded after rolling 1,000,000 miles an hour is just fucking silly. Rey using one of the most advanced powers for the dark side without a lick of fucking experience in that regard is fucking silly. Having Rey blast out concentrated Gay to incinerate Chew fucking Baka though? Fucking really? You insipid piss waffle. That series of about 2 minutes was just fucking silly. And you know what? After Rey murdered Chewie, Finn makes this noise. And it honestly makes me laugh. It's as though he's saying, "Why the fuck did you kill him, you dumbass?" Either way, our characters sort of just pick up and leave. No First Order chase them. Kylo doesn't even bother trying to stop them. Okay. Next up, we see Chewie is fine. He's on board Kylo's destroyer, and it turns out Rey just destroyed a random other transport ship. No, I'm not screwing with you. This happens. The film straight up kills him and has all of the characters react. And then it's just like, he's fine, lol. Fucking pond scum script. So they decide what to do about the inscription. Apparently there isn't enough time to return to base, but there's totally enough time to visit a droid smith and work on the translation. Remember this, I'm gonna come back to it. Also, they are being followed by the Knights of Ren in their own ship. That explains why they let them go. Or wait, no it doesn't. Why didn't they just capture them instead of letting them run free? I actually have no idea. During the journey, BB-8 manages to power up a droid from Uchi's ship. It just chills out and nobody wonders if it has any information that could possibly help them. Being that it's decades old and it's a Sith droid, but yeah, it's fine. I mean, it would be way too convenient to the story to have that be an option, you know? So then our heroes arrive at Kijimi and they are ambushed by Zora Bliss. She's an old crew member of a spice running operation Poe used to be a part of. Zori immediately concludes that they can collect the bounty on our heroes until Rey beats them all up, and thus Zori decides she likes Rey. Unironically, this is a common trait of of the Mary Sue. People in the world just like them. And what fucking luck that nobody was killed or even shot at in this back and forth, and that she responded in that very specific way. Would have been super awkward if she didn't help them or if the First Order were alerted, but hey, this is how it went. So Zori guides our heroes to the droidsmith, whose name is, Babu Frick. They take C-3PO to a droidsmith named Babu Frick. Oh, and just as our heroes are moving away, the movie shows us that the Knights of Ren are right on their tail. But they still lose them. Like, there's this whole group of them moving in lockstep throughout the city, searching for these people that they let go, despite knowing exactly where the ship is, and yet they are all searching everything one by one together. And they lost them. You guys are so incompetent that I'm starting to think you didn't make it to The Last Jedi because you just got lost. Mr. Frick then concludes that you have to erase C-3PO's memory in order to successfully translate the Sith message. Why? Why does that follow in any way whatsoever? Why would you have to erase his whole memory? That's just what? In fact, why can't you have D.O. translate it? He's literally a Sith droid. C-3PO then says that R2-D2 doesn't have reliable copies of C-3PO's memory, and that this is their only shot, meaning that if they were to return to base after the mission where R2-D2 is just chilling out, C-3PO would not be able to be restored. Meaning this is now C-3PO's death scene.
Taking one last look, sir, at my friend.
Why the fuck would a goddamn droid smith not have any way to create a backup for a droid? That's like an IT tech not having a USB, for fuck's sake. And do I even need to talk about how utterly embarrassing it is that you have C-3PO essentially dying with nobody he fucking knows in the room? Leia, Chewie, and R2-D2 are all gone for equally retarded reasons, and you have this saga-long character tell the audience that he's saying goodbye to his friends, and he's speaking to people that he maybe shared a fucking minute of screen time with? Yeah, I'm not fucking buying that. So C-3PO dies. Great. Moving on, Zora Bliss shares that she has a First Order Captain's Medallion, which means you get free passage through any blockade. What fucking luck that she just has a magical space coin that can basically push anybody through the plot. Kinda seems as though it makes no sense, being that whichever captain it belonged to would surely know it's missing and get it deactivated, not to mention that if this theoretical captain were dead, it would surely have been decommissioned, but alright. I guess that's how that works. I mean, it's no big deal, she's not giving it to Poe and the rest of our heroes or anything. It's meant for her, so she can finally escape this planet that she's been trapped on for so long. A planet filled with pain that she wants to get away from. This is her only shot. Anyway, she ends up giving it to Poe, and they use it to ambush a First Order ship and save Chewie. Fuck this gelatinous plum of a script. Poe then shares that nobody came to help the Resistance in their final hours on Crate. He thinks that everyone is too scared, and Zora counters by saying, there's more of us than them, and they win when they make us feel alone. Maybe in sheer number you might be right, but you are aware of their absolute legion of Death Star destroyers, right? Like, standing up to them could mean the destruction of your entire solar system. My favorite line, they win because they make us feel alone. Yeah, no, they win because of their galaxy-destroying lasers.
Yeah, pretty sure the guns that blow up planets are contributing more than their morale.
Seems like a detail that might keep this army from forming, but yeah, it's a coincidence thing for sure. So our heroes are directed to the Endor system for McMuffin 2 by a now blank C-3PO. Kylo Ren arrives. He was a bit slower this time, despite having his knights directly behind our heroes, compared to being systems away with naught but a fucking necklace, but who cares? Astronomy is gay. When seeing Ren's ship, Rey manages to sense that Chewbacca is alive, and they decide to go and rescue him with the space coin, allowing them to land their ship. Why is it that Rey couldn't sense that he was alive when he was about 30 meters away from her when she thought she'd killed him? No fucking clue. I guess the plot didn't care at that point. I don't even know where to begin with stuff like this. Nothing runs with any cause and effect. Bliss just has this thing that lets them get through First Order blockades, and she just gives it to them. Rey just senses Chewie with the gay. They have the weight of the universe on their shoulders, and they immediately decide to go into the belly of the beast to get Chewie out. They don't even take the space coin with them either. They leave it on the ship. That thing was specifically invented to make it so that Chewie could be saved and the dagger could be retrieved. And nothing gets discussed by these characters. They do not give a fuck. The journey is already decided. Did I mention the pacing is horrific in this film. Also, I find it hilarious that Rey is happy she didn't kill Chewie and that we're all good to go now, but who knows who she actually did kill on that transport, or whether there were prisoners on it, you fucking psychopath. So Kylo goes searching for Rey in the city while our heroes enter the Star Destroyer to save Chewie. Apparently the Knights have so little clue as to where any of them are, they have to search the entire city again. That's the dialogue one for one. Well done, lads. So you're telling me that they actually managed to land this ship inside the Star Destroyer because of a space coin. Are you certain that this wouldn't have tripped several alarms? Ah, well that's where you're wrong. They actually send 2 stormtroopers to go and check. Oh wow, you just murdered them right in front of the entire hangar bay. I feel like you guys are fucked now. I can't help but think of another scene that they did this in, where it was much more meticulous and well-reasoned in terms of how they actually managed to get past these systems. But here they just run through, shoot everybody. Good stuff, guys. Moving on. Upon delving further into the ship, Rey splits off from Poe and Finn to go and find McMuffin 3. Let me repeat that. Rey splits off from them to go and find McMuffin 3. McMuffin 3, if you remember, is the knife. The knife had a guide to McMuffin 2, and they have that translated now from C-3PO. So why would they, as characters, have any reason to go and get the knife? Why would they split up the team when they're supposed to be finding Chewie? Well, unbeknownst to our entire team, it's actually very important that they get that knife. Let's have a look at what Rey tells Poe as a reason for why she's leaving them.
Why? A feeling.
A feeling? A fucking feeling that you need it? You are going to risk everyone's lives over a feeling. My goodness. Also, just before that, she does a mind trick on 2 stormtroopers at once to get the info about Chewie and tells everybody to shoot out the cameras. I imagine this is in hopes that they don't alert the First Order as to where they are. Though I am almost certain that shooting cameras will alert fucking everybody to exactly where you are. It's also neat that she's just this good with the Force, I guess. Though that is downright consistent at this point. Anyway, General Pride spots their ship in the hangar bay. Personally, don't know why he was heading there, don't know why he was essentially doing the work of the lowest ranks imaginable, but yeah, that just happens. He immediately questions who it belongs to, which makes me wonder how the fuck a space coin can get you through any blockades if it's provably false as a ship by looks alone. How far can the coin possibly get you? Do you not need to confirm with any kind of code or communication beyond a fucking metal chip? This being noticed leads to Finn and Poe having to gun down around 20 to 30 stormtroopers. They just stand there and get shot. It's honestly just sad. There's even a moment where a couple of troopers turn up behind our heroes, choose not to shoot them, and then they wait to get shot instead. The First Order looking super competent as usual. Either way, they end up getting captured along with Chewie and sent for execution. Poe is shot, by the way, but it's in the arm and everyone forgets about it in seconds. More on that in a moment. So Rey actually manages to find the dagger, Chewie's bandolier, and his bowcaster because she could sense the gay. That totally makes sense. I guess Luke really couldn't sense the knife when he was at Pisana, but she can sense it here. I like how they aren't even locked down either. This is the knife that allows a person to find Palpatine's secret McMuffin that leads to his hidden army, and it's just sitting on some white block along with Chewbacca's fucking bandolier. What the fuck is this? Before she can leave, Kylo calls her on Skype. Again, because he of course wants to find her, even though he could have just captured her moments ago. God, this is such a headache. You would think he would just keep Skype open at all times, or at least do it a bit more considering how much he needs to find her, but nope. He spends this discussion looking for a clue as to her location, and unfortunately for Rey, they have a small battle that involves knocking over Darth Vader's helmet, teleporting it to Kylo, and so Kylo knows exactly where she is. The sheer luck factor in every element of this script is beyond insane. It hurts to fucking think about. But yeah, with how the teleporting works, I guess Darth Vader's helmet is now just sitting in the middle of Kojimi. Cool. Though the amusing thing is, they make something like that happen on purpose to push the plot, like the helmet itself being teleported through, when they didn't even need to. Rey was already holding the fucking Sith dagger when he opened up the call with her. She has it in her hand throughout the fucking conversation. How does that not tell Kylo exactly where she is? That thick fuck. Though I suppose the more interesting part of this scene is that of Kylo Ren telling Rey about her lineage. Her parents were indeed nobody, but there's more to that story. We're gonna get there, but I want to say ahead of time, Rian Johnson must have fucking hated watching this movie. It pisses all over The Last Jedi, and as much as that amuses me, it's not exactly great to look at. You know. Segmented piles of hot, rotting excrement pouring over a dilapidated corpse that once used to be quite something. I'm not exactly happy about the excrement, but I can laugh at it. Rey tells C-3PO, BB-8, and Dio, the new droid, to go and find Poe and Finn. She doesn't suggest how they can escape, she simply says they should go. Well, okay, but before we can even think about how Rey imagines they'll escape, you have to wonder how it's possible for these droids to simply find the others. Maybe they're gonna do a scan like they did in A New Hope, or maybe they have some comms. Nope, we have a scene where C-3PO walks down a corridor and suddenly... What fucking luck! They're just around the fucking corner! This is just wonderful, you piece of shit, crotch-brained cunt bucket of an excuse for a script. Phew, okay, so Hux prevents the execution of Poe, Finn, and Chewie, explaining that he's the spy and that he betrayed the First Order because he doesn't like Kylo Ren. That's it. He just hates him and wants him to go away. We have no idea how long he's been a spy. We have no idea if there's anything to him that's altruistic. He just seems as though he very much doesn't like Kylo Ren. And that's worth losing his entire career, his faction, and risking his life. He stops the lockdown for them and asks that Finn shoot him to make him look like he was forced to let them go, despite the fact that they took the time to explain that there are cameras everywhere. You fucking idiots. Not to mention, by the way, that when they captured Chewie, they wanted to torture him, which they didn't manage to get started apparently. But when they capture Poe, Finn, and Chewie, they decide to execute them immediately. I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that they were being executed by the one person who could save them. It's almost like luck is a very big factor in this script. Moving on, Kylo meets up with Rey in the hangar bay and explains that Palpatine is her grandfather. And yeah, her parents were nobody, but who fucking cares? Her grandfather was goddamn Emperor fucking Palps, Creamy Sheev himself, which would naturally mean that one of her parents was the child of Emperor Palpatine.
You are a Palpatine.
They were nobody.
They're filthy junk traders. You're nothing.
You're mine. I never lied to you. Your parents were no one.
What do you mean you didn't lie, Kylo? That doesn't make any sense. One of her parents was the child of Emperor Palpatine. Mr. Johnson, I'm so sorry, but I can't stop laughing at how much JJ must have hated your movie. Apparently, Rey's parents kept her hidden from Palpatine because they didn't want her to become an evil tism, and he's been searching for her ever since. But what Palps didn't know is that there was a dyad in the gay, two that are one. And so Kylo suggests that she join him and kill Palpatine because the dyad can overpower Creamy Sheev himself. But before any decision can be made for sure, Finn and Poe collect Rey and escape via hyperspace. They don't use the skip this time though, they just leave with the one. So why don't they get followed? Poe literally says,
I don't know why they're not following us, but I don't trust it.
Why? Okay. We didn't get the answer for why they let you go earlier, despite immediately choosing to have them executed when they were captured, and we're not going to get the answer for why they let you go now, are we? Even though the First Order have now lost the dagger as a result. It's almost as if fucking nothing makes any sense. Cutting back, Hux explains that he was forced to let them go, and General Pride, played dashingly by the wonderful Richard E. Grant, just straight up kills him. I cannot help but believe that JJ was so pissed that Ryan turned his young Empire enthusiast general man into a clown that he decided to create a new character that behaved just like Hux from The Force Awakens, and have him execute what remained of the character that he was supposed to be and that Ryan shat on. How you doing there, Ryan? Okay, buddy. It's also pretty interesting that they discover the spy for the Resistance, the proverbial thorn in the First Order's side, and they choose to execute him. No interrogation, not even a question. He would theoretically have a wealth of knowledge on the enemy, but fuck it, that would make sense. Next up, we get Rey saying that Palpatine killed her parents, so she will destroy him. And Finn says, I know you, and that doesn't sound like you. Only for Rey to say,
People keep telling me they know me. No one does.
The film's trying to be like, oh shit, Rey's got a dark streak to her, what's gonna happen, oh my god. And all I can help but say is, the fuck? When does she ever make any decision that's even remotely dubious? Remember when Luke strangled the guards at Jabba's? Or how he demanded Jabba kneel to his demands or die? Remember how Anakin executed the Tusken Raiders? When does Rey literally do anything that could be considered the dark gay? Was it the lightning? I don't think she even knew how to do that. that, and it's clearly not tied to her motives as a person because she only thought she was saving someone in that moment. Oh dear, there'll be essays written about how much you can't say about Rey. And side note, during this journey, Poe is dealing with a blaster shot to the arm, and since he's the most talented pilot in the Resistance outside of Jesus over here, he's quite important. Not to mention that he's second in command after Leia. You'd think that Rey could maybe lend him a hand and heal that up for him, since, you know, she'll do it with a wild fucking animal. But nope. He can just have a bandage. Let's just hope it doesn't affect his piloting. Anyway, we managed to visit Kylo for a moment, and Palpatine tells him that he still needs to kill Rey. There's no hologram, they just have Palpatine tell him this in his head through the Force. That's just a casual thing now. Okay. So now we end up in the Endor system, where McMuffin 3 says McMuffin 2 is. And that just so happens to be the broken remains of the second Death Star. Yes, this Death Star. How could this possibly work? Even if there were pieces of this thing, how could it land? It would have burnt up in the atmosphere, it would have made an enormous crater, but if those things didn't happen, then surely it would have just crumbled regardless. How could it possibly be in this kind of condition? And how the hell didn't it actually fall on the same moon of Endor from episode 6? How did it manage to get to this place? Oh my god, it's all so terrible. So Rey is asked what it is, and she unironically says, it's a bad place.
What is that? It's the Death Star. It's a bad place.
It's a bad place? So, like, are we still going to pretend that the prequels are the only ones with shitty dialogue? Liar! Now, you may be asking, if McMuffin 2 is in only one room on this destroyed Death Star, then how could they possibly find the right room? It's surely impossible to search the whole thing with the time they have, so they're fucked, right? Well, Rey pulls out a ruler portion of the blade, yes, just go with me here, and she lines it up with the ruins of the Death Star to point to the exact place she needs to go. Do you understand the sheer insanity of this fucking moment? Can I express to you how fucking stupid this is? You have to have carved the knife from before Rey was a child, so like 20 years ago, and you had to do it based on the ruins of the enormous fallen ship. And then you create a ruler attachment that extends out and points to the correct room based on where you were standing at the time. Are you fucking baiting me? Not only do you have to worry about the ruins shifting over decades, which is pretty likely of an enormous fallen Death Star that's in the fucking ocean for Christ's sake, not only do you have to rely on the idea that the Resistance, Rebellion, or just Randys in general decide to never plunder this place despite having insanely valuable resources within it, not only do you have to worry about Rey figuring out that this is the thing you even need to do with this knife, not only do you have to be in the right distance away for it to line up with the blade, but you also have to be at this specific angle. If they had looked at this Death Star from any other position, they would have been shit out of luck. What the fuck is happening? Who wrote this? Who would want this attached to their fucking resume? Holy mother of Hades, you galactic fuck. With this information, they can go and get McMuffin 2. But the locals tell our heroes that they have to wait till morning because of the enormous waves that are preventing travel for now. They can't take the Falcon over there because the landing gear is all fucked, apparently. The Falcon can float? Just have it drop off Rey and Finn or whatever. Like, why wait an entire day when the First Order know where you are? It's not like the Falcon's never been damaged before. You do realize that the galaxy is depending on you right now, yeah? Why are you people so beyond stupid? This isn't even a contrivance anymore. It's just sludge. Insidious sludge dripping onto the page. Either way, they all agree to wait, only for Rey to run off and go alone again for reasons. Like, I don't know why she did this. She behaves very oddly in this movie. She also manages to pilot the watercraft there, despite the fact that the people who probably know exactly how they work told her not to because it's going to be too difficult. Fucking desert-bound hermit is so talented that she can sail the choppiest of seas. Can we even pretend to be surprised anymore? You know what? Why doesn't she just fucking fly over there? We know she can. Why not teleport? Why not anything at this fucking point? So Finn and the locals decide to follow her in another skimmer because apparently we can just do that now. I thought they made a big deal about not doing it, but what the fuck ever. Also, I have no idea what Poe is going to do about all this. He doesn't come with them and no one seems to tell him. We just see him again back at the base later. So yeah, don't know what's going on there. Rey is then seen traversing the dangerous remains for the Death Star, just like she did did back on Jakku with Star Destroyers, but it makes no sense anymore. She can literally just float with ease. She can also jump incredible heights. Why is she making a big deal about a little gap like this? Anyway, she gets to the Emperor's throne room because Star Wars, and she enters Sheev's bedroom where he kept McMuffin number 2. As she goes to leave, she is attacked by evil Rey. Remember her? Well, she tries to speak to Rey, and before you can absorb that, she shows Rey her scary Bilbo teeth, and Rey falls over. JJ, what the fuck am I looking at? Kylo then picks up McMuffin 2 because he's just here now, and he destroys it. Whoops. Now they have to fight, and fight they do. It's awful. Please go and subscribe to Shadiversity so that we can see him break down exactly why when the Blu-ray version comes out for this horrible mess. Link is in the description. Anyway, we cut to Leia at the base. Maz Kanata explains to everyone that she has to use the Skype power to see Kylo, and that it will kill her. I guess Leia figured that she could stop Kylo from killing Rey. I don't know how she knows that's gonna happen. Sees the future. I don't know. Like, how does she know about any of this? Has the gay become, like, the most convenient thing that's ever existed now? It's just pure convenient magic. Like, I know a lot of people say it never had rules. It had rules, you fucking idiot. It had a lot of rules. You know, I'd like to develop what I was kind of talking about earlier. How did Kylo know that she was in the Death Star? How did he know where to park? He didn't see the info from Uchi's knife, but him being there means the First Order had to know where the heroes were and followed them through hyperspace, right? So how come the people fixing the Falcon aren't dead now? How aren't they at the very least captured? Rey isn't even on it, and she's the only person Kylo wants alive. Everybody who was on the Falcon was going to be executed like 10 minutes ago. Are we going to get answers as to how any of this works? No? Okay. Kylo and Rey continue to battle, and Kylo essentially wins. I have no idea how, considering he was beaten by her twice without training, but I guess that gut shot really mattered sometimes. Anyway, when Kylo is about to deliver the killing blow, he sees Leia and drops his weapon. Once that happens, Rey straight up cheap shots him with a sucker stab to the chest, and then is immediately like, oh no, Leia's dead. Which is... wait, what the fuck? Leia's dead now? You went to this amount of effort to bring her into this film only to have her go out like that? A fucking silhouette falling over? Oof. That's 3 for 3, folks. All of them. Fucking annihilated by the sequels. So, Rey feels guilty immediately, because what she did was concentrated bullshit. And so she heals Kylo with the gay and tells him she wanted to take his hand, but specifically Ben's hand. Not exactly sure of what that means, other than please be good now, you fucking idiot. Either way, she runs off. Apparently Kylo's ship was right next to where they ended their battle. It doesn't require any keys or ID to fly, and of course Rey knows how to fly it, and it just happens to be right there. Meanwhile, Finn and Poe go back to base. They have no idea if Rey even found the McMuffin or where to look for it since she took the dagger. She didn't tell them fuck all, even though their whole bloody job was to find a way to Exegol, and so they head home. And not to skip ahead, but this is never addressed. They never actually ask her why the hell she randomly abandoned them. But hey, they won, so whatever. Like, as it stands, at this very moment in the film, the entire journey for Chewie, Poe, and Finn was pointless. Anyway, Kylo is standing up now, and he's visited by a certain someone, Han fucking Solo. And the film makes sure to tell us that this is exclusively from Kylo's memory, not a Force ghost. Could you imagine how fucked that shit would be? Regardless, Han forgives Kylo, which is pretty fucking meaningless when you think about it. Like, he admits this is his own memory, and then he has his own memory forgive himself. Han is dead. He didn't forgive you. You forgave yourself. And with everything you've done across these 3 movies, that hasn't been earned whatsoever. Anyway, Kylo decides to throw his lightsaber into the ocean and have a look around. He's alone there, so I'm not sure what his plan is, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually. Next up, we see the Pride is having a discussion with Palpatine, and they decide to combine their forces at Exegol for no reason, while sending a ship to destroy Kojimi. Why would they place all of their ships in a single position outside of one from Exegol and random ones in the First Order? I thought the conditions on Exegol were, like, terrible. Well, we need a finale, so why not? Also, why destroy Kojimi? Well, because they want to piss off the Resistance. Yeah, but why? As we're about to find out, you are very vulnerable at Exegol. Why are you trying to get people to attack you there? Also, Zori Bliss is on Kojimi, and she didn't have his space coin because she gave it away, so I guess she's dead now. Rip. How exactly does Palpatine think Rey's gonna get to Exegol, considering she's currently on Arc 2 burning Kylo's ship and swearing off any involvement at all? Does he hope that Luke will convince her to? We then see the final order begin as the plan to blow up Kojimi is enacted with a Death Star destroyer. Look how stupid those dudes in red and black look. Fucking red-ass troopers. Anyway, the Rebellion catch up to this event and conclude that every single ship in the Emperor's fleet has planet-killing weapons, and they've sent out a signal that all planets must submit or die. Well, I'll tell you one thing. The Emperor's Death Star is looking pretty puny now. You nailed it, JJ. We have 1,000 supermobile Death Stars. Good shit. That's how stakes get amped up. I love it. So anyway, on Arc 2, Rey goes to throw Anakin's lightsaber into the fucking bonfire, and before it can fall in, Jake Skywalker catches it. Oh well, I guess we're still doing that, huh? Ghosts can just interact however they want. That's just wonderful. Is there any explanation for that?
The direct implication is that Force ghosts can just do this crap now.
Yeah, I mean, why would it be that planet when Luke went there specifically to cut himself off from the Force? Why would he go to the planet that's super Forcey, where ghosts can even use the Force if he wanted to escape the Force?
It may not be that the Jedi originated there, but that's where they established their first.
Is that how that
temple.
works? You just, when the Jedi said, this is the first temple, it went boom, and Force ghosts permanently have power there. It's like, that's how that works?
That's
okay.
it.
Maybe they built it there because of the Force energy on that planet.
Fuck off.
Well, yeah, because Obi-Wan died on the Death Star, but he showed up on Dagobah and all that stuff.
He showed up all over the place.
On Hoth. Yeah,
and then
man.
Luke, but then Luke showed up at Tatooine, you know. You can go anywhere as a Force ghost, so you should go to Exegol and summon lightning and destroy the fleet.
Yeah, this is why I joked about it before, but I can say it again. What's the point of being alive?
Yeah, I mean,
Look, either way, you'd think that Jake would be okay with nuking that lightsaber, considering how much of a fuck he gave about it before. But he does have something interesting to say about that.
The Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
Wait, I'm sorry, one more time?
The Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
Get fucked, Ryan. Oh my god. What a roller coaster it's been to be a fan of Star Wars. Holy shit. Luke then says that she shouldn't stay on this island, and of course she replies that he did, and Luke then says coming to the island was a mistake.
I was wrong.
JJ, stop, please. I can't take this. Can't be real. This is the cinematic equivalent of two babies fighting over which one's toys get to be in the fucking sandbox, only the sandbox cost $4 billion to fucking buy. So Luke tells her to go fight Palpatine because she's not evil, which is sound advice, I guess. Hope nothing bad can come of that. He also provides her a second lightsaber. This one is Leia's from when she was training with Luke. Luke kept it on the island because Leia didn't want it. Apparently, Leia was scared that if she kept being a Jedi, her son would die because she saw it in a vision. So she decided that Luke should take care of her lightsaber for a person who would eventually pick it up and finish Leia's journey. Unironically, this is what Luke says. Leia gave it up because she saw her son's death at the end of her journey, and so she wanted someone else to finish her journey, thus killing her son? What the fuck is this writing? Also, Luke says he knew Rey was a Palpatine but didn't want to say anything. Didn't he, like, swear off teaching people to control the gay because of what happened with Kylo? And yet he decided to try with a fucking Palpatine? Really? Why was he shocked when she went for the dark gay in TLJ? You know, I think these movies don't like each other. So then Luke raises his old X-Wing out of the water, meaning he truly committed suicide rather than turning up to crate himself. Awesome, thanks for that. Rey then uses that and Kylo's McMuffin to approach Exegol. All the people who said Luke couldn't get to crate with his ship because it was waterlogged. How does it feel to have JJ just spit in your coffee and slap you in the face? Yeah, that's how TLJ felt. Also, Force Ghosts can just do fucking anything at this point that normal Jedi can do. Wonderful. Also, Luke had to let Rey know about the McMuffin in Kylo's ship. Apparently, she didn't notice that thing being plugged into her navigation despite knowing exactly what a McMuffin looks like. So, she didn't transmit the information to her friends because she's an asshole or because she's absurdly forgetful. You can take your pick on that. Oh, and if your brain hadn't melted already, R2-D2 casually reinstalls C-3PO. He's fine now. Back to normal, in fact. What do you guys mean that they made a big deal out of it? What's wrong with this bait and switch? All talented writers use it. They did it with Chewie, they did it with Palpatine, and we haven't even finished this movie yet. I wonder who else is going to come back to life.
You guys have officially made me lose my marbles!
So back with the rebellion, everything was a waste of time and they have no idea what to do. Dio, the random droid that belongs to Darth Uchi, happens to have a readout of Exegol on his hard drive. They get the location of the planet, the fleet, and how dangerous the surrounding area is, as well as the core weaknesses they can exploit. How about that? He functions as what they thought they wanted out of the MacMuffin. How fucking lucky. But of course, as they learn, you need the MacMuffin to be plugged into your navigation in order to get past the space cancer. Unless Rey is moving through the space cancer right now and she can just transmit the coordinates that you would have gotten through plugging in the MacMuffin. Wow, you can just do that. That sounds so lucky. Woohoo. And so, the rebellion fleet follow her to Exegol. She doesn't wait for them and they don't wait for backup because... what a useful fucking droid to have come across. What wonderful fucking shit this whole plot has been. Imagine for a moment that Rey had sent that guide to the space cancer and they didn't have Dio in order to know where Exegol even was. Which, by the way, is exactly what she should assume they have in terms of information, because the discovery from Dio comes after Rey has left our team of heroes, and she's supposed to be the only one with a functioning MacMuffin. Unless, of course, transmitting the info makes it so that Dio is essentially obsolete. In which case, why have it that they get all this information from Dio anyway? Oh my god, who wrote this? And it's about to get so much worse. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you J.J. Abrams trying to make a high-stakes final battle scene. So, we have like 1,000 Star Destroyers on Exegol versus a flimsy fleet from the Resistance. That sounds like we lose, but there's a key factor. They have no shields on Exegol, and Poe makes it clear that the reason for that is you cannot activate shields until you are above atmosphere. That is something that Poe says. I didn't know that that was fucking true, but apparently that's a rule now. Even though the troopers had shields on their tread speeders in Pisana, even though the war at the beginning of the 5th movie began with the Empire trying to destroy a shield generator that was protecting a base in the atmosphere of a planet. And even with that insanity, we haven't won yet. What would stop the Death Star destroyers from just going up above the atmosphere? They'll get their shields back and there's still like 1,000 of them. Well, Poe has an answer for that.
Ships that size need help taking off. Nav can't tell which way's up out there.
Nav can't tell which way is up out there? Are you fucking yanking my chain? The ships can't tell which way is up. Fucking up. How about you look out the fucking window, you turbo cunt? How the fuck would they not be able to tell how to go fucking up? If you guys can tell which way is up, then surely they fucking can. They have windows. You just need to go in the opposite direction of gravity. Can we please get a helium balloon for each Star Destroyer in case our pilots can't look outside? Also, are you telling me that they don't have any Star Destroyers in space right now? They don't have one here or here or here? What the fuck are you talking about, Poe? Oh god, it gets worse. Apparently the Star Destroyers need to have a tower to tell them how to go up. If our heroes destroy said tower, all of the ships are fucked, and all you have to do is shoot the underside cannon for the entire ship to explode. That's the plan? It's as simple as that? Are you fucking kidding me? All because they don't know how to go up? What the fuck? Mary then asks whether they can do a Holdo maneuver. They named it after her, holy fuck. But Finn replies,
Come on, that move is 1 in a million.
1 in a million? 1 in a million? You're telling me that what she did had a 1 in a million chance of working. She was just astronomically lucky. What do you fucking mean? Doesn't that make her a traitor now? If it was a 999,999 chance out of a million that she would escape into hyperspace, then isn't that the obvious fucking thing she was trying to do and she got unlucky? According to this movie, Admiral Holdo is a fucking coward, and what's more is she failed at running away. Also, by her own judgment, she's now a twat. Remember this?
You have bet the survival of the Resistance on bad odds and put us all at risk?
How's 1 in a million, you stuck-up frumpy sack of rats? Honestly though, how the fuck could it possibly be 1 in a million? How do you miss the supremacy when it's that enormous? And if she knew that it was a low chance, then why didn't she just drive the ship into them the regular way? Once again, JJ kicks Ryan right in the balls. Though in fairness, Ryan kind of earned it when he kicked the rest of Star Wars in the balls with that stupid scene. Though I do want to say that this is exactly what we were all expecting. Rian Johnson wrote it so that stakes couldn't exist in space battles anymore without some kind of retcon, and J.J. Abrams just retconned it into oblivion. What a shit show. They still don't have a lot of access to reinforcements, so the plan is to send Chewie and Lando to the core systems and ask for help, kinda like they did in The Last Jedi. Only during that film they actually had better odds. They weren't fighting piloting thousands of planet-destroying Star Destroyers and they had an actual escape, but sure, fine, may as well try. Kicking on, Rey gets to Exegol and she makes her way to Palpatine. She also arrives while wearing Luke's X-Wing helmet, which,
How dare you stand where he stood?
We see the good guys traveling through the space cancer, and it's kind of insane. We're getting a shit ton of huge ships just moving through something that a TIE Interceptor had to dodge and weave through. But alright, it's only about 20 ships. I'm sure I can believe that. As soon as the fleet arrive, they are bombarded with what seems to be thousands of lasers, and they make it out okay for a while. I don't know that that's possible. In fact, I think it's very not possible at all, actually, but okay. So we find out that the tower is just sitting on the surface of Exegol, not protected by anything, and of course it doesn't have any shields because those aren't possible below atmosphere. The plan is to send a ground crew to go and disable it. But why not just fire a missile at it though? Or like, even lasers? Like, just fly one dude there. That's all you need is one guy. It has no shields, you cunts! I still can't believe this entire plan comes from a random droid they found on a 20-year-old ship in the fucking desert. Kill me. General Pryde then discovers their plan, and so he reroutes the ship's navigation to his own ship to guide them out. Wait, what? He can literally guide out the ships with his own ship? Because unlike the other ships, he knows how to fly up. This fucking script. Why wouldn't you build all of the Star Destroyers to have the tower installed, you fucking ham? So the rebels spot this plan by seeing the navigation tower deactivate. They don't shoot it, mind you, they simply spot it deactivating. Finn quickly realizes that it's Pryde's ship that has the new source of the navigation, and so they concoct a plan to assault his ship and destroy the navigational portion of it, or whatever. How does he know that Pryde's ship has the navigational source? Well, he explains it for us.
How do you know?
A feeling.
He has a feeling. A fucking feeling. Fantastic. They land their transport on Pryde's ship and they intend to travel to the tower and destroy it. They can't do it with speeders because Pryde can jam those apparently. Like, he just says to jam the speeders. I didn't know that was a thing, and that wouldn't have worked if they just parked closer to the tower anyway, but okay. The subordinate then says...
They're not using speeders.
And that's because they are riding space horses to the goal. Why would you park so far away from your goal? It seems the only reason is to literally have this moment with the space horses. So yeah, they ride them on a Star Destroyer. And for some reason, Pryde is bewildered by this. He has no idea how to stop it. Try tilting the ship. They have horses, you pancake fuck. You have artificial gravity. They don't. Tilt the ship. And even if the gravity somehow applies to them outside of the ship, it is worth tossing your crew around if it means saving your entire fleet, for fuck's sake. How do you this fucking stupid? They're horses. You have outclassed them in technology by several thousand fucking years. Get your act together, for fuck's sake. We then see them all get attacked by Sith troopers, because why not? With the amount that land, it's over. There's no way they don't wash over the very small number of rebels as is, but oh my god. Shrek is here. Yes! Shrek made it into the scene. Good for you. So Finn and the other person make their way to the tower, and person, I honestly don't remember her name, shoots an enemy with an arrow and destroys it. Okay. Then she drops grenades into a hole and it blows up Pryde's navigation tower, which means the navigation is now fucked, and all the rebels have to do is destroy the ships, because the ships can't escape Exegol because they don't know which way is up. Pryde is sad to discover this and demands that they reset the Death Star Destroyer systems in order to regain navigation. How do you reset your systems when the fucking navigation tower has been destroyed, you dopey cockholster? Finn realizes that this is Pryde's plan, and so he decides that they have to blow up the entire ship, whether or not he's gonna make it back. Can't the Final Order, or whatever, just reactivate the first tower now? Why are they trying to reset their own tower instead of just flipping the one on the bottom back on? Doesn't that kind of destroy any and all tension this retarded battle battle even had. So Finn tells Shrek to leave and begins his sacrifice. Again, only this time Shrek can't stop him, and it's played as an absolutely heroic move. Once again, just JJ shitting all over Rian Johnson, and I can't help but fucking laugh. Back over to Rey, and she meets up with Palpatine. He explains to her that she needs to kill him so that he can possess her with all of the Sith that ever existed and become super evil Sith god person, I guess. You'd think he would have tried that with Luke or Vader in Return of the Jedi, but obviously he hadn't learned that ability yet. While in this scene, by the way, there's this weird fucking audience of what appear to be thousands chanting for Palpatine, like in Sith hoodies and shit. Who the fuck are these people? Are they Sith? Where do they come from? Where do they sleep? Do they have like a 9 till 5 job? Wait, what do they eat? Is it Snoke clones? Do they have a Snoke soup with a side of Snoke? Either way, Kylo arrives too. I guess he had to awkwardly explain to his team that he's not with them anymore, but he still needs a ride. Or he got it from the ruined Death Star, but that just raises even more questions. They then have this slapstick moment where he jumps onto a chain to get down to Palpatine and Rey, but he hits himself and says, "Ow." Really feeling the tone here. From there, Kylo shoots some randoms and finally bumps into the Knights of Ren. These guys are super formidable with their clubs and axes. I mean, they're essentially fucked. Kylo has a blaster and the Force. What can they possibly do? Well, the thing is, when we cut back to Kylo, he doesn't have the blaster. It's just gone. Ladies and gentlemen, J.J. Abrams has actually continued something from Ryan's work, the disappearing weapon. And of course, without the blaster, Kylo loses immediately. Probably should have held onto it with a bit more passion. Or hell, could have brought your fucking lightsaber, couldn't you? Despite all of this nonsense, Rey provides Kylo a lightsaber through Skype teleport, and he manages to kill all of the knights. They even have him do a Han Solo shrug, which makes no sense for him as a character. Kylo Ren has about as much humor as a dead sock. You know, I haven't talked about it that much, but the fighting really has been tismy in this film. Like, there's this moment where Kylo turns his back on the Knights of Ren with his lightsaber behind him, and he just sort of waits for them to hit it, and then they do, and then he's like satisfied with that. Why would they still hit it? Why wouldn't they just attack him where he's vulnerable? Oh, and let's not forget the stellar moonwalk stab from earlier.
Did you guys notice the fact that he moonwalked his way into a lightsaber strike?
Yeah. It's like,
oh, yes.
It was so cool, though.
He has a lightsaber pointing behind him, and then he steps back into someone.
It's so unnecessary. You could just attack them normally.
How practical is that?
How practical is moonwalking in medieval warfare?
Yes.
We need to know.
I can't even say it.
After Rey and Kylo kill all of the minions in the area, they meet up and prepare to take down Palpatine once and for all. Which is confusing because I thought Palpatine said if you kill him, he just becomes you or whatever, so I don't know what their plan is here. Either way, old Creamy Sheev just obliterates them. He immediately sucks the life energy from both their bodies because that's something he can just do and they can't do anything to stop him. And now he becomes Super Sheev. These two were essentially gods in the Force and he just sucks their shoots dry. Oh well, old Palpy even got his Sith eyes back for some What is happening anymore? Discount Porkins dies. He gets shot down. Does anyone remember him? He was in TFA. I don't really remember him because Ryan forgot to carry him over to TLJ, so now he's dead. Rip. Anyway, all seems lost and everyone is panicking, but good fortune is just around the corner, as is the case whenever a fight scene seems dire. Poe hears on his comms a familiar voice, a voice that tells him backup is on the way. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong clip. At that moment, thousands of ships blast into Exegol, all allies, all prepared to help save the day. Oh, sorry, wrong clip. Actually, how the fuck did this many ships manage to navigate the space cancer? Look at that crowd. How in the world could that be possible? They should have been fucking obliterated, unless they took my plan seriously and finally just went around the space cancer for fuck's sake. Also, why the fuck didn't they wait for Lando to come back with a message from the other systems before assaulting Exegol alone? It was only like an hour at most. As a result, he's gotten the majority of his team killed ahead of time, thanks to his hot-headedness. Wasn't he supposed to learn his lesson in TLJ? That, you know, you make the right decision and then you get punished, and now he's making the wrong decisions and not being punished, kind of like the end of that film too. Among the ships we find Zori Bliss. She's not dead, and neither is Babu Frick. Why is no one staying dead in this fucking movie? It's just this little person making this stupid shout sound in a ship with a person whose whole planet was destroyed with no feasible way for her to escape. Chewie, C-3PO, Babu Frick, Zora, Bliss, Palpatine, everyone just dies and comes back. I can't with this. Also, if this many people are willing to come when all hope was essentially lost, then they must have been creating a resistance themselves, right? How was this armada ready to go? The turnaround was fucking minutes. Holy Moses. Okay, so they assault the Death Star Destroyer army and they begin to turn the tide. They even show a Y-Wing utterly fuck up a Death Star Destroyer.
Most people do not know what a Y-Wing is.
No, shut the fuck up. I'm pretty sure this moment is actually a giant middle finger to the retarded TLJ bombers. It's like, look, Y-Wings, we have them. They're useful. Yay. Even though moments later, Palpatine turns the tide right back. He throws Kylo down a hole, because I guess he was pissed that he was thrown down a hole? I don't know. From there, he powers up his lightning and he unleashes the Titanic Gay upon the galactic fleet. Oh, side note, draining the life out of people apparently gives him red clothing. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, he basically kills everything. Like, every ship for the good guys either explodes or gets turned off. He somehow manages to avoid destroying his own fleet with this move. I guess he's just super accurate because that's how lightning works. The interesting part is that everybody we don't recognize gets exploded. However, people like Zori, Lando, and Poe just sort of fall over. But they never crash or anything. It is like the most literal representation of suspending someone in animation because they don't want them to win or lose in this moment. But yeah, I suppose it bears mentioning that I was kind of surprised that you can get Sith powers to the point of electrocuting and destroying thousands of ships. Like, I remember reading about this as a leak, and I just didn't believe it, but fuck it, that's a thing now. So Rey gets upset when seeing all of this and decides to call out to all past Jedi since she's the last one, and we know they're all dead. Among the voices is Ahsoka Tano. So, yeah, congratulations on pissing off yet another faction of fans that exist in your audience, Disney. I guess she's dead now. So Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Yoda, Leia, Luke, Mace Windu, Anakin, and several others all encourage her to fuck up Palpatine. Because hey, that's where this whole saga was leading, right? All of those stories were designed to bring a hero to the forefront to destroy the villain. And that hero's name is Rey Palpatine. Creamy Sheev tries to hit her with lightning, but she blocks it with a lightsaber. She blocks galactic fleet destroying lightning with her lightsaber. Okay. Mr. Palps then delivers what I can only describe as cognitive diarrhea, like a literal loose, watery stool of the mind. He says, I am all the Sith. Whew, boy, I am all the Sith. Written and directed by an adult. And what does Rey say in response?
And I'm all the Jedi.
Wow, you straight up ripped off Marvel there. Fucking hell. So she deflects the lightning back at him, and instead of it giving him a ball bag for a face, it disintegrates him. I guess Mace Windu should have used 2 lightsabers, that way he might have won.
With a single lightsaber. No!
Yeah.
No,
And she's got no power left. He sucked it out of her.
But she has a lightsaber.
Should have overloaded and exploded the instant that lightning hit for how powerful it was, and she should have just been fried to death. Like there is no logical chance
fair enough. But what about 2 lightsabers?
Yeah. Oh shit!
Yeah. Take that and double it.
Palpatism slowly melts to the point of my wondering what the fuck he was doing still firing lightning at Rey when half of his face is a fucking skeleton, but he dies anyway. Rey killed Emperor Palpatine. Not Anakin, Rey. The rest of the ships in the final order explode and all of our heroes escape Exegol. Isn't that just the satisfying ending to the Skywalker saga we always wanted? I didn't fucking think so. Anyway, Rey dies from that, for reasons. Even Finn feels it in the Force, which means Palpatine can just inhabit her body now. Right? I thought his whole thing was inhabiting bodies in general, and once he's killed, he can just move to another one. Like, she did exactly what he wanted her to do, so I guess he wins? Well, either way, Kylo manages to climb up the hole and heal Rey back to life. They kiss. Fucking why? Ugh, as if Reylo fans were the ones you needed to please. Also, he dies after that. He just disappears. He's dead. Apparently, this is a situation where they couldn't have both of them live. Like, they couldn't share half the gay each. It had to be a full gay for one of them. But even if that's the case, I'm not sure why Rey didn't disappear when she died. In fact, I have no idea how any of this works.
Healing has massive implications, okay? They not only screw up how it's employed, that, you know, what cost is there to heal? Because it doesn't cost Rey anything. She heals, and she's perfectly fine. But when Kylo heals, he kills himself. Because reason, okay? There is...
So every single Star Destroyer simply falls out of the sky after having their respective guns destroyed, I guess, or are they just destroyed normally? Hell, we even see one of them getting destroyed by a 1 in a million Holdo maneuver. We see them fall over Endor, Bespin, and other planets in general, which makes no sense at all, because if they're in range to be attacked by the locals, then surely they were in range to have destroyed a planet, or at least wage a war. Like, we know for a fact that one of the planet-destroying Star Destroyers is still out there. What the hell happened to it? The First Order is defeated, easily, because obviously they never stood a fucking chance. The Rebellion then celebrate their hard-won victory, and we can be rest assured that Palpy is dead. He's definitely dead this time. A real victory, not that fake shit from episode 6. This is the real stuff, folks. We even get a random lesbian kiss from two characters I don't recognize. Oh, and it's been cut from other versions of the film to avoid controversy. Maybe one day Disney will even have a main character that's gay. Those soulless, deceitful, fucking corrupted monkey cunts. Oh, Chewie gets given Leia's medal, by the way. Remember how he, like, didn't get his medal in episode 4 and how there's a shit ton of memes about that? This film made sure that if they'd nail any scene, it would be the one that gets Chewie his fucking medal. Fuck off. To close out the film, we see Rey bury the Skywalker lightsabers in Luke's old home. I can't imagine Anakin was very happy about his lightsaber being permanently entombed by several feet of sand, though more importantly, I think we can all agree that Luke's home should be in a fucking museum at this point. A galactic celebratory shrine of heroism, and it would likely have tourism and introspection about how this farm boy managed to topple an empire, but fuck it. JJ never gave a shit about world building, so why start now? Also, it's pretty interesting that Rey straight up buries the Skywalker lightsabers. It's arguably pretty symbolic. She casts Luke, Anakin, and Leia's legacies into the dirt while going on to live as though she is the hero of this galaxy. I'm sure I'm just reading into it. It's not like she took their name. Either way, Rey checks out her new lightsaber, a custom one that she made? Okay, why weren't you using that one instead of Anakin's? And you gave what? Luke made his own lightsaber because he lost the other one. Has she finished her training now? Fuck off. A stranger comes by asking for Rey's full name, and she sees Leia and Jake off in the distance, leaving her to take the name Rey Skywalker.
Rey Skywalker.
You can't just take their name, you petulant celery stick fuck. You're standing at the dual sons fucking duck fuck. This isn't your name to take, you piece of shit. How is BB-8 hanging out with you? BB-8 is Poe's fucking droid. Give it back, you greedy cow. Okay, that's credits. We did it. We've made it. Let's calm down. Let's chill out and have a chat, shall we? What a biblical fuck-up. What a perfect way to drive the corpse of this franchise into the fucking pits of Tartarus. What a way to signal to the audience that you really, really hate this IP. Where do I begin? The world building has once again been sidelined or ignored for the sake of spectacle and throwaway lines. We know nothing of the situation with the First Order and their control. An apparent year has passed since the destruction of the Republic, and the planets throughout the galaxy have simply been ignored. What do people think about the First Order outside of the fact that they just turn up at the end? Are they even in control of anything? What about the so-called free planets? How exactly are they even free? Didn't Bespin fall to a single siege from a Star Destroyer? Why did they even resist? Why would any planet even resist something as powerful as the First Order? How would they even resist? What is happening in this world? How did Lando know that there were only 2 McMuffins? I like how there's this mystical super secret Sith base planet that's hidden by storms, waves, and space cancer, yet almost everybody in the galaxy turns up there by the end of the film thanks to a McMuffin getting copy and pasted to everyone. How did General Pride make it through the space cancer with his Star Destroyer? How How does anyone make it through with static coordinates when the space cancer is constantly shifting? How did he even do it in general? He didn't have a McMuffin, and Kylo had switched teams by the time he needed it. That makes no fucking sense. Did he just send General Pride a McMuffin over the Wi-Fi? At which point making everything to do with the McMuffin's really stupid? It's like they put so much effort into explaining how it's never been known previously, and it's so difficult to reach, but then it's as common as the fucking gas station by the end of the movie. I kinda want to talk about how Darth fucking Uchi has a key to the home address on his knife, for fuck's sake. Why would Palpatine not keep the McMuffins at Exegol? Why would he even have McMuffins? Why would he want people to potentially stumble upon his planet? Couldn't he just send people to go and fetch the people he wants at Exegol? And better yet, he should send people out to get the McMuffins and keep them at Exegol so that he can decide who gets there and who doesn't. There's no fucking need for all of this contrived bullshit. Why would he let the assassin that he sends to murder people of interest kill with a knife that has directions leading to his planet, for fuck's sake? Why would the assassin want that? If Palpatine's a clone, then why is he essentially a corpse? If he's got his own new body, then wouldn't it have full function? But then if it's not a clone, how the fuck did he survive the explosion? Twice. If Palpatine didn't die from what happened to him in Return of the Jedi, then why are we supposed to believe he's really dead this time? How is it that Palpatine is accepted and known to all of these people, yet not 1 year ago Luke Skywalker was a fucking myth? Everybody just accepts that he's back as well. There's no questions because we have no fucking time. Do they not find it concerning that the information they are collecting from the spy was pretty much useless since it only said there's a fleet, there's a planet, and you're going to lose? If it were me and we got that information and the First Order just happened to find us moments later, then I don't know, I'd think it was a trap. Remember when Rey's lightning destroyed the transport ship, and then supercharged Palpatine's lightning managed to turn some of them off and mess with their controls? That's cool. If they managed to miniaturize the Death Star tech so it can be used by ships, then why didn't they just divert all resources into making those instead of building both the Death Stars and the Starkiller base? Why didn't Palpatine just continue to use the big gay to push the Star Destroyers even further up if they can't figure out up for themselves? Also, because of the whole no shields thing and how if you shoot the open cannon of the ship, fucking random A-wings can instantly destroy a Death Star destroyer. Who fucking designed these things? The stakes have been raised only to be slapped right back down, which is hilarious considering the retcon of Holdo's maneuver in order to create stakes again, only to destroy them yet again himself. Oh, okay, if ghosts can grab lightsabers and lift X-wings and shoot lightning, then why the fuck aren't they helping people they care about? I suppose that'll be a never-ending question. Wait, hang on. Like, Luke, seriously? You only told Lando about this? Why was Luke okay with burning down the sacred Jedi text in the temple if they had the only clues to the McMuffins that are the only chance to getting to Exegol and stopping Palpatine?
Oh, read them, have you?
Motherfucker, he wrote them. One of them is his fucking diary. Why are you so terrible? Seriously, can you just leave Luke Skywalker alone? You fucking ruined him.
I came to this island to die.
Let's talk about the plot, if you can call this a plot. I would call it a J.J. Abrams wet dream. The man cannot function without mysteries, action every 5 minutes, a bazillion vistas, the ticking clock, and of course, steaming hot McMuffins. When writing this script, one of the biggest concerns was that I wouldn't be able to explain the plot in a way that made sense. The film loses its mind at several points. It takes the meme of having a secret world that's found by a McMuffin, that's found by a different McMuffin, that's found by a coordinate, that's found by an informant, that's informed by a spy that has no previous existence as a spy, and they turned it into a fucking script. How do you do this and take yourself seriously? How did Kylo know where to find the first McMuffin when it was hard as fuck to find the second one? Why would Creamy Sheev tell the galaxy about his reemergence when he's not even ready to destroy them all and he hasn't got a full functioning body yet? Why did he commit to his galaxy domineering plot at the same time he wanted to commit to his body swap plot? The First Order were already taking over the universe. And in terms of just nonsense, why the hell didn't he stop using his lightning when it was killing him?
He wouldn't stop doing the lightning when it started disintegrating him.
Yeah, like, didn't he
I would have stopped. I'm like,
time?
ow, that fucking hurts.
Oh shit. This isn't working
It's
properly.
trying to stop pissing like midstream. You know.
It'll probably get better.
If Palpatine made Snoke and had him ruling over the world with the First Order, then why didn't he send the other ships? Why wasn't he ruling instead? Why bother with all the Snoke shit? He was you in everything but name. What's the fucking point? It's almost like it's a giant retcon, and the fact that Snoke almost had Rey killed would have fucked up Palpy's plans for the whole movie. Lucky everything turned out the way it did, huh? How didn't Luke and Lando have Uchi's ship stripped apart for any clues? Because if they did, they would have found Dio, the droid with a fucking technical readout of Exegol. I wonder how significantly that would have changed the events of this saga. Do you remember when they said there was no time to go back to base from Pisana, so C-3PO said he'll have to make his sacrifice? Well, they were still going to head to Kijimi, and then to the Endor system, and then back to base, and then still over to Exegol. Couldn't they have just gone to their base, copied C-3PO's memory with R2-D2 and then do the memory reset? They could still then go to the Endor system. Actually, why the fuck wasn't R2-D2 on this mission with them? What was he doing back at base? Just chilling out? He was in the opening mission, but he's not on the mission that'll win the fucking war? They take fucking C-3PO on the mission, but not R2-D2? I understand the value of an interpreter, but fuck me. Oh, and we haven't even talked about the insane luck, both good and bad, characters just running around this film like fucking bowling balls bouncing off everything they come into contact with. They just get pushed to their designated endings through luck. I don't know that anyone makes an informed choice in this film. It all just seems to be immediate. Like, is that what they would do? I don't know. Go. Lady Luck is given a name in this film, and that name is the Gay. Characters with spontaneous knowledge, characters with abilities or access that allow them to enter the next scene with no problem, characters who live or die based on the fact that something random and unlikely takes place. It's wonderful. It's a big old fucking roller coaster, and it leads to the destruction of what remained of the OT. Speaking of which, goodbye the Force. Any chance of you being consistent has leapt out the fucking window with Luke, Han, and Leia. We got it bringing people back from the dead in more ways than one. We got Skype calls, teleporting shit. We are now capable of normal chats at will. No hologram calls required. We got the absorption of all past Jedi to beat all past Sith. How about healing? Sith spirit ghost inhabiting bodies. Like, they took no fucking time to explain any of these things. This is not something you can just throw around in the final chapter. How does Rey know how to do this? How is it that Kylo seeing her do it makes it so he knows how to do it? You have to let us know how it works. I don't even... Let's talk about characters, shall we? Rey is trying to discover what her lineage is so that she can discover something about herself. Again. And as a result of that, we don't have any time to learn anything about her. Again. Because her lineage is not actually important to her character, which is what they said in The Force Awakens, and that she can find people who become influential to her, crafting her character instead of looking back. And that's if I'm being very generous. Only that changed in TLJ to, it's not that it's not important, it's that it's nobody that would matter, which doesn't actually make sense in universe, but it does make sense in a meta-commentary sort of way, because we all expected her to be a Kenobi, a Skywalker, or a Palpatine. What the writers fail to grasp is that even if her mother's name was Jane Doe, she would still be a character. She would still have a history. She wouldn't be nobody to Rey. Either way, it still means it's ultimately not important, and they wasted another movie of development time to say nothing, which leads us here. A story that tells us no, it's not that it's nobody, and it's not that it doesn't matter. It's that it's somebody, but it's somebody that doesn't define her. Somebody that doesn't matter. The entire trilogy has spent so long telling us that Rey isn't defined by any other person that they forgot to define her. And so right at the end, they have her say that she's a Skywalker? What does that even mean for her? And it's interesting that you would choose to identify in the same family tree as the guy you just fucking kissed, but alright. And as a result of that ending, this trilogy has now solidified itself as the surgical bastardization of galactic heroes that paved the way for this stinking Maya's existence in the first place. Every single Solo and Skywalker are fucking dead. A Palpatine is left to move on in this galaxy while using the hero's name. What a fucking win for the Emperor. But don't forget, just because Disney killed him doesn't mean he's gone. Because no one's ever really gone, am I right, you fucks? And you know what else? This is supposed to be Mustafar. This McMuffin is supposed to belong to Darth Vader. Why the fuck didn't Anakin help Luke when he was looking for Darth Uchi? Why didn't he tell Luke about his own fucking McMuffin? Why didn't he tell people that Palpafuck was still alive? What the fuck did you do to Anakin Skywalker's fucking legacy, you abysmal shitmole? Kylo commits to being a good guy this time. No idea why, just fuck it. He hadn't tried it in a while. I guess it was Han Solo that truly pushed him over the edge, generated from Kylo's memory, even though he was recently told that Palpatine has been faking every voice in his head.
I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head.
So he just looks even fucking stupider now. But what else have we got going for the bad guys? Snoke was an incredibly powerful Force user that Palpatine could shit out of a Sith-making machine, for fuck's sake. Hux is a plot device, he's barely in the film, and of what screen time he actually had, he's humiliated and murdered. But not before setting up the plot for our heroes and sparing them from it when they're about to be executed. General Hux, being the defecting officer of the modern empire, is used as a quick excuse for our heroes to make it out when that could have been a story on its own. He could have been treated with some respect and made for quite the turn of a character, but nope. Like, if Hux's goal was to simply kill Kylo, then why was he feeding information on how to defeat the entire First Order? Like, he literally tells people how and when the First Order will attack and what Exegol is. What the fuck does that have to do with killing Kylo Ren? Like, you would have better luck with hiring a bounty hunter, for fuck's sake. I want to bring up the fact that, like, loads of ghosts that could have turned up just don't through so many events in this movie. None of them care beyond getting sucked into Rey as she kills Palpy, which is kinda weird, isn't it? The Jedi just had to awkwardly stare at Rey and Kylo as they were getting drained, and they thought to themselves, fuck it. We gotta do this ourselves, lads. Hop in. Not to mention, Qui-Gon Jinn was supposed to be the first to discover the means to become a ghost, right? Then how do we hear Mace Windu's voice? Like, didn't he die before any of that could have happened? Like, how the fuck was he a ghost? And if it's just all of them, then how the fuck wasn't there a complete cavalcade of voices? Luke straight up pushes Rey to go and kill Palpatine, which actually led to old Creamy being able to rejuvenate himself completely. And, you know, with her being near death, if Palpatine just chose to finish her or push her down the same hole that Kylo was in, the saga would have been fucking over. That would have been super awkward for Luke, but, you know, fuck it. Palpatine says that if he's killed by Rey that he can transfer to Rey, and then he just doesn't when those events actually take place. I know I brought that up before, but I just can't get over it. It's just insane. I guess I should bring up that Finn has a setup for loving Rey. Like, he has a moment where he tries to say it and it's dropped and nothing comes of it.
Rey, I never told you Rey!
Like, why have that and do nothing with it? What a way to waste the other protagonist in this series. Leia gets her emotional death scene when they could have began the film with a tasteful funeral or had her survive the film. Instead, they essentially weep for her and then kick on with your normal Star Wars experience. Poe may as well have not been in the film. Chewie, Maz, Snap, Merry, the rest of these chuckle fucks, they don't really do much of anything in terms of character. There's nothing here. The Knights of Ren are laughable. It's like JJ put them there just to spite Ryan for not including them, but all they do is fail to complete their goals. There are about 0 scenes for people to actually learn and grow or change in any significant way. It's so busy explaining how the plot is going to work that there's just no time. Characters make snap decisions, there's no introspection, there's no discussion, and they introduce a whole bunch of new people for no fucking reason. Zora Bliss, this girl, Babu Frick, not to mention Darth fucking Uchi. Poe is apparently a person who did spice running at one point. Okay, we had a scene to set that up that made no sense, and then we had it paid off for nothing but providing some context on how he's friends with this person, and that's about it. Not even Shrek got development. Speaking of which, holy fuck the retconning. I knew to expect some, but this was wild. Anakin's lightsaber? Fixed. Kylo's mask? Repaired. General Hux? Fucking punted and replaced with his old self. Shrek? Yeeted out of this script in a heartbeat. Luke being a coward? Admitted mistake. Luke throwing his lightsaber? Admittedly disrespectful. Finn sacrificing himself without a person to stop him and being successful? Sorted. Rey's lineage? Well, she's not no one anymore, is she? She's a creamy Sheev Palpatine. Is JJ aware of how many fucking video essays he just made obsolete? Thousands of videos celebrating Ryan Ryan's masterpiece are now inaccurate, to say the least. Not that they weren't before. And fuck me, whether or not it contradicted Ryan's abortion, I cannot help but cackle as this fiery coffin of a trilogy plummets further into the sludgy annals of schizophrenic script hell that should have been made illegal well before release. Though I suppose it should be said that JJ tried. He tried to give our main cast an adventure together. He tried to give Rey the training everybody wanted to see. He tried to show her fail. He even killed her, despite it being temporary. Because hey, the plot isn't going to let a Mary Sue die, now is it? Well, there's a bunch of concessions there, JJ. A couple of Ryan retcons and a couple of things to make up for what lacked in this trilogy. It's a selection of things I'm sure you figured people would have wanted. Well, too little too late, you hobgoblin cunt. When you try to pander to literally everyone, except TLJ fans, you end up pandering to no one. Or movie Robert for some reason. Like, it's clear from the whole resurrecting thing that they do throughout this that JJ wanted everything. He wanted everyone to survive, but to also have a bunch of dramatic death scenes. He wanted 1,000 times the scale for the bad guys and the good guys because he watched it in Avengers Endgame, and that's how you end a big story. He wanted a plot that took us galaxy trotting, meeting all kinds of colorful characters, and why did that happen? Because they needed to fetch a thing that we've never heard of or seen before, packed with throwaway lines to attempt to excuse this defiled wretch of a story. I think the saddest moment for me was watching Chewbacca be told that not only are Han and Luke dead, but as of returning to base, Leia is dead too. All of them are dead. All of it is fucking dead. Thank goodness Rey Palpatine made it though, while walking into that dual fucking sunset. I guess if I was being kind, I would mention that I actually thought C-3PO killed it in this movie. I smirked at a couple of his lines, and I actually cared about the idea of him being placed in a situation where he agrees to sacrifice himself to save his friends based on the odds of survival despite being a more cowardly character. But the mechanics of how that came to be made no sense at all. They didn't earn it. And the fact that R2-D2 had been backing up his memory kind of implies that his wipe during Revenge of the Sith is now a bit of a shaky point as well. I like Babu Frick, that little shit. The soundtrack was neat, if not essentially throwing everything in the saga together. I liked watching Lando and Chewie meet up and hug. That was nice. The visuals were pretty stunning as expected, though the editing and the pacing were choppy as fuck and they nearly killed me. The actors did a fine job with what they were given, and I had quite a few laughs, intended or not. You know what? Yeah, this was a masterpiece, and any of those haters, those man babies out there who are hating on the film because they are purely hateful sexists, or because the story subverted their hateful expectations, or because they missed the deeper themes because of their hatred, but missed no opportunity to suck their own dick, or those awful people who incite harassment based on innocent cast and crew members. Fuck those man-children specifically. The Force Awakens attempted to retcon the original trilogy. The Last Jedi attempted to retcon The Force Awakens and the original trilogy. The Rise of Skywalker attempts to retcon just about everything. Lucasfilm has no fucking clue what they're doing. No one there respects the IP or the process of writing in these films, and as a result, we have a worthless trilogy that can honestly be watched without The Last Jedi now. Like, if you pretend that Snoke and Luke had heart attacks from TFA, everything plays out. Except, of course, for all the damage that's been dealt to those wonderful movies set in a galaxy far, far away. As if it wasn't enough to assassinate Han, as if it wasn't enough to assassinate Luke, you had to rip the victory of Anakin Skywalker right out of his hands. That fool didn't kill the Emperor. Anakin didn't bring balance to the Force because Palpatine never died. Anakin didn't save the galaxy because the First Order rose not long after. Palpatine survived. Anakin didn't end the war and save those heroes of this world because they all ended up humiliated and or dead. They didn't win at the end of that movie. If anything, you could skip the OT because it's mostly inconsequential to the greater saga of Rey versus Palpatine. And none of these fucking characters behave like themselves anyway. That is the legacy of Disney Star Wars. The fucking undertakers of a cinematic wonder. The copycats who came in late to pick at the leftovers of something great without ever understanding how it got there. Get fucked, you hollow money-grubbing cunts. Thanks for watching, folks. I guess I'll see you next time.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Ray Skywalker.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man then.